Warrior Hour number 39 going up. This is exciting. So yesterday, Rachel decided to talk some with us about nutrition, which was kind of a little of a twist of turn, kind of like we were all like, oh, okay, let's talk about nutrition. That's cool. And the more I thought about it, the more I was just like, you know what? I think we're going to make a week of it. I think that there's so much that we can talk about with nutrition that why wouldn't we talk about it? You know, as we learn so much about our brains and our minds and how much that we can control that, then why wouldn't we start talking about emotional eating or different styles of eating or different ways to meal prep and set yourself up for success? Like, I think that just kind of leads into it. Now that we're in a good place mentally, now it's time to start feeding the rest of our body, feeding the rest of our mind, and continuing to take our brains up a notch, you know, because the more you're on track with your nutrition, the more your nutrition is on point, the more your brain's going to be on point, right? Like the more I always know, like, whenever I just eat like crappy food, like I literally am also like in a fog of like, what's happening? Like I just like am literally like, it's like I can't think after I have pizza or something, like, because it literally clouds your decision making, because all of your energy is being sucked down to your gut for digestion and things like that, and so you have no energy to do anything else. And so I mean, that doesn't mean I don't have pizza every once in a while, you guys, because I definitely do. But what can we surround like the rest of our week or the rest of the day with to kind of balance it? You know, it's like, yeah, you can have your pizza, yeah, we can have Chipotle, yeah, we can go and kind of maybe get some Chinese every once in a while, but that's not every day, right? Like that's not sustainable. That's not what we're doing every single day. So how can we change our minds to start picking the correct foods when we know we should, right? Because I always think about it as like, if I'm pretty on point all week and I dabble a little bit in some cookies or some pizza on the weekend, I'm right back on track on Monday. It's not really that big of a deal, right? Like you kind of indulge and then you pull those reins. I always think about it. This is how I thought about it since like the beginning of time for me as coaching, which was but mainly what I think of it as is like a retractable leash, like a dog leash. Like, so you can kind of end it out and let it go just a little bit, but then you always kind of pull it back in and then like lock it in, right? Like maybe you're with your dog and you're like, oh, there's people, let's pull it in, let's like keep you close. And then you kind of like let a little freedom go, you let a little leash go, and then you're like, all right, let's bring it back in. So that's how I like to look at my nutrition, is like I live a little, I have a little fun, I kind of indulge a little bit, and then it's time to bring it back in and get back to what I know is best for my body. Okay. That's kind of how I like to lead. Some people, not so much. Some people are like, listen, I don't even touch anything that doesn't belong in my body. That's totally fine for you people. I love you guys. I wish I could be you, but I can't because I love my cookies. I love a good pizza every once in a while. And sometimes it's just kind of fun to indulge or to have those kind of like older pleasures, you know? But I think about it, as long as I'm surrounding 80% of my other meals with leafy greens and healthy fats and whole carbs and solid proteins, I'm fine, right? That's kind of how I look at it. I like to give a little, but I also like to really reel it in as well. So I have kind of a cool video for you guys that I found, something that I've mentioned a few times. And so I did a little bit of searching yesterday for this video, and I'd love to talk to you guys about it afterwards, but I want you to see it first so you get a little bit of idea of what I was talking about. And so I've mentioned it several times about fruit till noon. And it's a concept that you guys can try to adapt. If you've ever done the Ultimate Reset, the 21-day Ultimate Reset cleanse with Beachbody, you kind of start to understand what the fruit in the breakfast is. That's kind of how they wean you. Basically, by week 3, all you're eating for breakfast is fruit. And then they also do carb cycling, which I'd also like to talk about carb cycling, but I think I'm going to do that tomorrow because I think we're going to beast. These are not things that you guys have to do. These are just like options for you, different ways to eat, different ways to see what works best for your body. Sometimes some people love certain things. Sometimes certain people hate certain things. Like maybe you are, if I tell you to do fruit till noon, but you're starving at 9 a.m. and you're like, oh my God, this fruit just isn't enough for me. Maybe you need a little bit more. Everybody's different. So these are all just different concepts and different ways for you to look at food or to try different things and see what works for you. Okay. That's why it's never just like do this and be done. And like, that's just option A, no other option available. No, that's not how I like to live, because I know all of our bodies function differently. I know what I'm doing is not what you're doing. And maybe even where I live is different from where you live. And maybe that can totally change the chemicals and compounds in your body and how you digest. Or maybe you work on your feet all day, or maybe you don't work on your feet all day. It can totally change the compounds in your body. So these are just ideas, okay? They're not like, this is what you have to do. It's just something for you to think about, or something for you to research, or just exposing you to different options, okay? Because I always think this, the more you know, then you can kind of like decipher what works best for you. You'd be like, okay, I know all of this, and I know all of this, and I've just learned this. Maybe if I took a little bit from everything and kind of made it work for me, boom, then I've got what works for me. It may not work for somebody else, okay? Because everybody is different, okay? Please remember that. And so maybe somebody's trying to put on weight. Maybe somebody's trying to lose weight, maintain weight, put on muscle, take off muscle. We all have different goals. We all have different styles. And so our nutrition is all going to look different, right? But the concept I want to introduce you guys today is fruit till noon. And basically this is a concept where the way your body breaks down fruit in the morning is ideally the best possible energy source for you. And I'm going to play this video for you, and he's going to kind of explain it. So I don't want to give too much away until you guys kind of watch like this little part of it, and then we'll talk about it more. But give me 1 second. I got to pull it up here. But on the Ultimate Reset, by week 3, you're doing basically only fruit in the morning. And that's where I kind of learned about like fruit and breakfast. And then somebody had mentioned to me one time, they're just like, oh, have you ever heard the fruit till noon concept? And I was like, no. And so I started reading up on it and doing a little bit of research on it. Yes.
They're all packed up.
You're going to get packed up?
Oh, I got packed up.
You already packed up?
No, I'm going to get you.
Oh, okay. I can't wait to see what you packed me. Okay. All right, let me screen share here. Okay. So funny. This says 2017, but I think this lady looks like she's from like maybe 1980s. It just like looks like a super old video, but I'm not really sure when it was recorded, I guess. Okay, so let's see. It's only like 6 minutes, so it'll be super quick, but there's like a ton of information packed to the 6 minutes. So give it your attention, and then we'll talk about it afterwards.
In the never-ending quest to lose weight, do you go low carb or low fat? Do you count calories or do you count grams of protein? Well, it's all so confusing. And Harvey Diamond, the author of Fit for Life, joins us now to tell us about his new book and help simplify things a bit. Thanks so much for joining us. It's so great to finally meet you.
Well, thank you for having me here.
Yeah, I had a chance to read your new version, Fit for Life, Not Fat for Life. What was your inspiration here?
Well, I was inspired to write a book about diet, not a diet book. There's a difference. Diet books that show us how to lose weight at any cost, they've been around about 35 years. The Washington Post reports that during that same period of time, what we have done is caused us to enter the most dire overweight epidemic this country has ever seen, including children for the first time in unprecedented numbers. The reason why these fad diets that come and go like the passing seasons don't work long term is because they don't teach us anything. Like the fact that our human digestive tract has certain some definite limitations that have to be honored, not ignored. We're each going to eat about 70 tons of food in our lifetime.
Yeah.
And we are laboring under this impression that we could eat any kind of food, anytime, day or night, in any combination, and the body will just handle it. That's the reason why, number one, we lead the world in obesity and are constantly looking around for that next diet craze. And number two, why Fit for Life works and remains popular for so long. It's not a fad diet.
Yeah.
It's not a fad diet that turns the eating experience into a clinical endeavor of counting calories and measuring portions. It literally shows people how to eat the foods they love in a way that respects the limits of the digestive tract instead of constantly pushing it beyond its ability.
Well, let's go ahead and jump right into it then.
Okay.
Some of the key successes of your program, and I have to say you've been successful too because you've overcome pain.
Yes, I have.
Biggest thing is fruit.
Fruit.
You are a big fan of fruit.
You know, it's interesting. If you think about the incredible bounty that God has put forth on this planet of fruit, thousands of different types of fruit. And what is fruit? It's pleasing to the senses. It looks good, it smells good, it tastes good. It's actually the most perfect food for human beings, containing every nutrient we need and the finest source of energy. But the thing is, fruit is the one and only food on the face of the earth that does not digest in the stomach.
So you have us eat fruit in the morning.
In the morning when
By itself.
there's nothing in the stomach. Fruit passes through the stomach quickly. If it's eaten as dessert, which is how we eat it in this country, it immediately hits the stomach where food is digesting. It ferments, turns to acid, and causes all manner of difficulty. If fruit is eaten first, it passes through the stomach, breaks down in the intestines where it releases all of its goodness and its energy, and it does not cause any problems.
And you like us to eat fruit. And by the way, I've tried this and getting ready for this. I actually start my day with fruit now.
Good.
And I feel better. And I make it till about 10 o'clock in the morning, but you say try to make it to 12.
Try to make it to 12. Go as long as you can. If you can make it to noon, that's great. If you can only make it to 10, that's great. It's better than waking up in the morning and the first thing you do is put food in the body that requires a lot of energy to be broken down. Don't forget, the digestion of food requires more energy than anything else we do. That's why we're tired after a meal. All over the world, there's the afternoon siesta. If you wake up in the morning after you've built energy all night and you eat a big meal, there goes your energy. That's why we're running around looking for coffee at 10 o'clock.
Right, absolutely. Now, all of this fruit is just part of eating living foods, as you say.
Living foods.
Explain what living foods are, and a lot of us are not eating living foods.
Living foods are not cooked foods. It's that simple. It's so simple it eludes most people. The fact is that our living bodies require living food. Most of the food we eat in this country is cooked. Only 10% of our diet is living food. 90% is cooked. And no wonder we have so many difficulties and can't lose weight and we're in pain and have all these health problems. As soon as you start to increase the amount of living food and
Fruits and vegetables.
and decrease the amount of cooked food. And there's a way of doing it. People have been saying eat more fruits and vegetables for years. Has it done any good? No. There is an intelligent way of doing it to incorporate more into the body and using certain timing. Timing is extremely important when we're eating. It's like I said earlier, you can't just put any old thing in your body anytime you want. I mean, look, we've spent billions and billions of dollars on weight loss schemes. Weight loss plans have come and gone, and there's a heap of them that have been cast off, and now we're in the worst shape we've ever been in history.
All right, let's talk about timing really quickly, and I'm familiar with your work. So from in the morning hours, you like us to eat fruit for the elimination.
Right.
Tell us more about the rest of the day.
Then for lunch and dinner, if you wish to have, say, for example, some kind of protein like a piece of fish or chicken or even a steak, whatever, have that, but have it with vegetables and a salad and nothing else. Not load up everything in the kitchen at the same time. We're accustomed to eating a piece of steak. We'll also have a baked potato and we'll have bread and we'll have pasta and all of these other starches with them. It doesn't help the body in terms of breaking down the food. It takes energy from the body. If you want to have pasta, have that at the next meal with vegetables and a salad, and just don't have meat.
Combining, which is different than a lot of the popular diets now, some of the low-carb diets that say combine the protein and the carb. You say what?
Well, remember, This is not a diet. This is
Okay.
understanding principles that are in harmony with the way the human digestive tract works. The plain and simple fact is that a protein requires an acid digestive juice. A starch, such as potato, requires an alkaline digestive juice. Anyone who's ever taken a beginning chemistry class knows that if you put an acid and an alkaline together, they neutralize. So here the food's in the stomach, the digestive juices are neutralized. That's why the food's been sitting around in there for hours. All they have to do is try what I'm saying. Have one or the other. Either have a protein with vegetables and salad at one meal, and have your starches with vegetable and salad at the next meal. That way you get to eat everything, but still lose weight and increase your energy.
All right, you're making a lot of sense. Once again, the new book is Fit for Life, Not Fat for Life. Harvey Diamond, such an honor to meet you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming in.
My great pleasure.
Kind of sick.
I have not said that. Just done it. All right. Pause that. All right, so it was super quick, but I think it has a lot of jam-packed information. Let me get Venom fixed up here. Okay. You're funny, dude. Okay, so the concept of fruit till noon, as you guys heard, was mainly because of the digestive tract. Oh, go outside. Or I'll make you take Venom off.
No,
Get back inside, please. Sorry. But okay, so basically what happens when you're having just fruit, like he said, it passes through the stomach super quick and it gets into your digestive tract, and then that's where it's broken down, and then it releases everything, all those good things that it has inside of the fruit. Okay, so that's kind of a nice little concept. And what he's saying is, when, you know, a lot of times, I mean, like, how many of us have had breakfast and it's like home fries, bacon, eggs, you know what I mean? And you think about, you kind of refresh and look back on all of this, like breakfast, pancakes, all these carbs, all this protein for breakfast. And yes, it's good, but you literally use all the energy that you just created through night to digest your breakfast, basically. And so by noon or 2, we're lethargic, right? And that's when we need coffee and energize and things to lift us back up. But it's because at 8 a.m. you wasted all your energy on breakfast, on your digesting your breakfast. And so when I kind of started learning this, I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. Because especially when I started trying it too, that's like where you're going to really start to like understand. When I was doing the reset, I could tell such a difference of when I was just eating fruit for breakfast than when I used to eat eggs, bacon, toast, you know, potatoes, all that stuff. Now, don't get me wrong, every once in a while, you bet your butt I love a good loaded breakfast, right? Like, but if I'm just trying to like get up and function every day, I can't be eating breakfast like that, you know, because I'm wasting so much energy so early in the day on just digestion, right? And so it's just something to try, okay? So that's all I'm suggesting. Give it a try. Try in the morning having fruit. Now, there's also a difference in certain kinds of fruit as well that can either hold you over longer, can also, you kind of want to stick more with green fruits. So green apples, green pears, and then berries are always going to be your best. Strawberries, blackberries, blueberries, raspberries, cherries, even. Bananas and pineapple tend to be kind of higher in sugar. So you can have those, but they're just higher in acid and sugar. And then you could even have like cantaloupe, watermelon, like those are really good. Those are really low. And you could have, and I'm not just talking like a little handful. I'm talking like a bowl of fruit, like 2 to 3 cups of fruit for this, okay? Is what you can start off with. So, I mean, like a bunch of melon, berries, strawberries, a few things of pineapple, like load that bowl or plate up. And you can kind of pick on it. I even should kind of like pick on it throughout the morning, really. So I'll eat like a ton of it, and then I'll usually like leave it on my desk and just kind of like pick on it throughout the day. And I notice such a difference personally. Okay. Maybe you don't. Maybe you don't like it. Maybe you hate it. Maybe you're like, God, I need some freaking toast in the morning. That's fine. Do your thing. Okay. It's just a concept for you to try. Right. And so I love it personally. I do fruit for breakfast if I eat anything. I actually tend to fast through breakfast personally. Like I just skip right on through it, and I usually eat like lunch. But if I'm gonna eat something in the morning, I typically try to keep it fruit, either an apple or just like some berries or just something like that. Because I know that it's not going to take from my energy level. Right? Like I know that now. And now that I know that, it's like in the back of my mind all the time. I always say this to you guys, like once you know, you can't unknow. So now it's just in your brain, and what you choose to do with it is totally up to you. But I'm one of those people, like once I know that carbs and protein are like depleting my energy throughout the day because I had them for breakfast, it's like all I can think about when I'm eating carbs. I'm like, oh, here goes my energy. Like, and so I just like it's like guilt in my body, you know, because I'm just like, I know I'm doing something that's not going to serve my body correctly. And especially when I realize how much better I feel and function off of just fruit in the morning. And then when I do the opposite, and I can feel the difference, I can feel the lag, I can feel the, or the just like, let's just sit and watch a movie instead of going out for a walk, right? Like those are the differences. At like 10 a.m., I'll be like, oh, I'll just sit and watch TV with Derek rather than, oh, let's get up and take a morning walk. Like just those little things can start to happen, and you'll start to notice, you know, my energy level is here versus my energy level is here. And so it's just something that you can try. And I wanted to like kind of give it to you guys. And then he talks more about the dinner, right? So if you guys caught that little last part, like science 101 of what he talks about, and I didn't quite catch what the exact thing he says, but basically a carb in your body is broken down one way, and a protein in your body is broken down another way. So when you have them together, like steak and potatoes, right? Your body is literally fighting trying to break down both of those at the same time. And it is putting so much stress and so much just energy. You're wasting so much energy just trying to break both of those down at the same time. And so Carly, I think you have a question. Oh,
so why did we always learn about the like healthy food plate? Like you need to be making sure you're having a bread and fruit. Like, is that like not really what we're supposed to be doing at every meal? Or not every, I don't know. Like
he did say add the vegetables. Like he said, you can eat whatever you want to, but if you add the vegetables with it, the fruits and vegetables with each meal, it will help your body digest each one of those different things. It's this great little thing because the alkalines and the acids both get broke down by the fruits and vegetables. So you're good as long as you keep that added to each meal.
Okay, well, all right.
It's so weird. It's weird that we would have learned to eat a 3 balanced meal. Get your protein, get your veggie, and get your carbs. Like that's it. Absolutely. I learned that when I was younger. My mom always made us, like 3 little slots. Like you get the little divider plates, and like I don't know. It's weird. It sure is weird that this science exists, but yet totally ignored. And there's a disconnect, is what I think. There's a disconnect between the science of our bodies and food being produced for us. And also, the more that you kind of, I don't know if you guys watch like documentaries on like food or anything like that. I'm semi-obsessed with them. And you'll kind of also learn that the food pyramid and the things that we have created, the food pyramid, are supported by, I mean, it's kind of crazy. So I'm pretty sure, from what I understand, is like the food, the Health and Cancer Society and all of this stuff, like are like invested, their investors are also people that are pill pushers. So like it's all real corrupt. Let's just say that. Okay. So like the people that you're learning of like what the food that you should be eating, and also the people that are making medications for cancer support each other. So they're not going to say, oh, you shouldn't be eating this, because they've put so much money into all of it. So they'll like, there's this one, I can't remember what it is, but I can't remember what documentary it is, but they talk about how on the American Cancer Society research website, they have recipes where things are wrapped in bacon. And they were like, but you, and so this guy like calls the American Cancer Society and is like, why would you have a recipe with bacon on it when bacon has been one of the leading causes of heart failure? And it's interesting that like, why would you have that recipe on there if that's something that is literally the exact opposite of what you're trying to do? And so it's eye-opening to me. It's very eye-opening to me to look at all of these different concepts. And when you start to see the underlying message of they're just trying to cover themselves up. And they have so much money invested in the way that we live already. They don't even know how to change it, is how I feel. This is personal opinion, okay, guys? So my thought is that they have so much money wrapped up in the food we eat already, and the way that we are already running our hospitals, and how much money that, you know, these companies are already getting and already have invested in this process. They don't even know how to say that they're doing it wrong. They don't even know how to admit and say, you know what, we're doing this wrong, and we're just gonna not do this anymore, because they have so much money and they're backed by each other. That's the thing, is like, you'll see that the like Tyson Chicken will donate money to Cancer Research Society, and you'll see that they like all support each other. And you're like, well, how can like you know, it's just it's nothing that I can really say for sure, but I definitely suggest looking into it. Okay, I definitely suggest checking out some documentaries. There's some on Netflix right now that are like about the food corporation and cancer societies and stuff like that, and how it's a vicious cycle.
You can pull the actual facts from the Cancer Society. You can actually pull the actual facts from the recipes that tell you that it could cause cancer in what you're eating.
Yeah, it's like it's so messed up.
Me being here now, they've tried to push so much pain medication down my throat after I told them I'm a recovering addict. And I'm like, I don't want it. Oh, you need it. No, I don't. Leave my room.
Right? Like, because they probably get a certain portion of something. The more pills that they sell and the more that they're giving you, then the more that they get, and the more money they get, and the more funding they get. And it's a vicious freaking cycle. And so when you're exposed to it, and now that you maybe know or have scratched the surface of it, it's time to think differently, right? It's time to say, like, listen, I know society and I know that all these big corporations are pumping this information out, but in my heart, I feel like I need to research it myself, right? Like, so don't trust everything that you're seeing out there, unfortunately. And to be honest, unfortunately, especially some of our big corporations, because they're so tied up into money, they're so tied up into funding, they're so tied up into who knows what, you know, that they have lost their sense of morals, is how I feel. I feel like their moral obligations have definitely altered, and they're more into the money. It's all about the money. And you'll even see that, like, you know, these people that are like, the Cancer Society is funded by the companies that are causing cancer. Like, bottom line, that's what it is. And it's scary, it's unfortunate, but we just need to get a head on our shoulders, is how I feel about it. Like, I just think of it as like, I have a very smart brain and I can figure this out by myself. And the more living foods that I can eat, the better. That's what I think about it as, is like, the less I can eat processed food, the less I can eat from corporations, and maybe I can buy from my local grocery or my local little produce stand here, the better. Yes, what the hell? Thank you so much, Alicia. That is a good one. That's the one I think that he does where he like calls the Cancer Society people and they like have no comment and stuff like that. And like, yes, what the hell? So write that down. It's really good. It's on Netflix. I've also seen The Game Changer. Ellico, is that the one that we watched that one time? It was like a year ago that we watched it and kind of been working through it. So I watched The Game Changer, which is all about meat as well, and how meat affects our body, and how, you know, veganism or plant-based or things like that can really be a lot better for our body. Take it all with a grain of salt, pick and choose kind of what you know, because of course always documentaries are gonna show the side that they want. You know, you always have to kind of be aware of that. It's like, of course they're going to use the information that backs their theory, right? So I always say kind of watch them all and kind of like get an overall sense of how you feel, and trust your gut. Trust what you feel is right. Trust what you feel in your body. When you put meat in your body, analyze it. How do I feel 30 minutes later after eating meat? How do I feel 30 minutes later after having fruit for breakfast? Right? Like, we can get all of this information from the internet and from Google and from documentaries and from, you could spend every day for a week on YouTube listening about diets and health and all this stuff and all the food and all the whatever. But until you put it in your mouth and see how it feels in your body, you don't know, right? Like, you have to be your own boss too. Like, you can get all this information, but then it's time to say, okay, but how do I feel when I eat this? How do I feel when I ate this? Or when I did a whole week like this? You're going to start to notice things, or I want you to start noticing things. I want you to start paying attention to how food feels in your body. Not because somebody said you should try it, but because of, I like it. I like the way it makes my body feel, you know? Because food, you guys, what we put in is a direct correlation to what we're going to get out. Okay. And, so what does that mean? So Alicia, when it comes to meat bought from farmers versus stores, I'm not 100% sure. It really depends what farmer. You know, I mean, like, if the farmer says, hey, you know, we did, like, if it's local, like for you guys, it's really easy to kind of find someone more local, but you still have to kind of ask how they raised them, you know, like, okay, what did you feed these animals? Because I know that they they were like feeding cows corn feed, but like cows aren't supposed to eat corn feed. They're supposed to eat grass. And that's actually how like E. coli and stuff like that started to form in cows, was because they were eating the wrong foods. So you got to be kind of weary of that stuff too. You know, it's like whatever the cow ate is now what you're going to eat. And if you watch the Game Changer little documentary, basically what he talks about is that the protein you're trying to get from eating meat is because that cow ate grass. So the grass in that cow is producing the protein that you're getting from it. So actually the cow acts as a middleman, is really what it is. So the cow is like your middleman. So you could just skip the cow and go straight for the greens, and you're still going to get the amount of protein that you actually need. You have to eat a lot more, but you're going to produce that amount of protein for yourself, even eliminating the middleman. I don't know. It was an interesting concept. Once I heard it, I was like, oh, I could just take the middleman out and just eat the freaking greens and then not even worry about my digestion and all the things that they give the cows or chickens or whatever. If I could just eliminate that part and just go for the greens myself, maybe that was an idea. So I started doing a lot of plant-based meats as well. We still do chicken or steak every once in a while, but not near as much as we used to. We always used to like, and I know a lot of people do this, it's like, oh, what are we having with the chicken tonight? Oh, what are we having with steak tonight? Like we automatically line up our dinner or our meal around the protein, right? And so I had to start switching. I go, oh, what are we having with broccoli tonight? So I just started wording it that way. I just started like just kind of tricking my own brain of just like, oh, what can I have with my broccoli tonight? And it just kind of altered it just a little bit to where I stopped putting all the emphasis on my protein in the evening, because for me, protein's going to happen. I'm probably going to find something to put in there, but I wanted to start focusing more on the veggies. And so that's where like To Be Mindset also came in for me, because she's really big on taking carbs out of dinner. And so it was really hard for me because I would always do, you know, carb, protein, veggie. So I would have like a steak, a little bit of potatoes, and a salad. And so basically what I had to start doing was taking that carb out and replacing it with another veggie. And so I would do maybe steak and asparagus with a side salad. So instead of having that third thing as a carb, I would have that third thing as another veggie. So you're getting 2 veggies in the evening plus a protein or a carb. Okay, so that's kind of what he was talking about. Is like, you can have carbs, you can have proteins, just don't have them at the same time. Right? So like maybe one night you have a baked potato with some broccoli, and the next night you have chicken with some asparagus and a side salad. Okay, so that's called carb cycling. Okay, so you don't have carbs every day. You have carbs in the days that you need it. So maybe on your rest day, you don't need carbs. You don't need that extra energy. So on that rest day, you just load up on veggies. And then maybe leg day, you know, or the day that you plan on running and doing a workout, boom, that's where you load up on your carbs. Okay, so it's just getting you guys thinking. Okay, like this is just getting the wheels turning on. It's not black and white, right? Your nutrition is not black and white. It is not eat this, feel this way. It is try this, see how you feel, adjust accordingly. Okay, and you're gonna find out what worked for your body the more you pay attention to it. The more you're like, man, I had that steak, and even though I've had steak for the last 30 years of my life, I never even realized that every time the next day I can't take a shit. Never realized that until I started paying attention. Right? Like, you guys, now that it's in your brain and now that you're thinking about it and now that you're exposed to maybe it just even a little bit, now you can be like, oh, it does affect my body. Oh my God, I do realize that after we eat steak and potatoes at night, by 9 a.m., I am literally laying on the couch about to fall asleep because my body is digesting. It's taking all the energy from me, right? So it's pretty cool when you start realizing and start thinking about, oh, I can change this. Like, I think that was one of the things that like was kind of just hard, or was like eye-opening to me, was just exactly what Curly said. It's like, oh, what they've been teaching us may not be right. You know, and I also think too is like the food pyramid and all that stuff, that's like the base of food, right? Like that's like your base, but there's so much to learn on top of that, you know? Like there's so much to learn about the chemicals that work in our body and the way food works with our body as well. And so I love that kind of video, and I just thought even in 6 minutes he exposes so much so quick about your body that just makes you kind of like, holy crap. So let's do like a little mock meal plan. That's what I thought we could do. Or like it's just a 3-day. We'll just do like a 3 days little mock meal plan. Let's try something. Okay. So for, let's see, today's Tuesday. So we're going to do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Okay. Thursday, Friday. So I'm just like writing this down really quick. So I'm going to do Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then I'm just going to do breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. Right? Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. I'm just going to write that for all of them. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack. Okay. So one thing you can do is go ahead and write in fruit for breakfast. Okay. So you're gonna have berries. So this is where you can go to the grocery store, grab a melon, grab a pineapple. What? Oh, walk backwards. There you go. He got his sleeve on the door. Don't do it. Don't try and do it again. It'll rip your costume. No. So let's go ahead and write in. So let's see breakfast. So I'm gonna write fruit. And you can just load up on fruit. You can pre-cut it and have it pre-measured out. If you could have it like pre-measured out in like some little bowls. Yeah, Carly.
What about, can you just put them in a smoothie? Or
Yeah.
should we just eat them like raw, like eat the fruit?
I typically just eat it raw.
Okay.
Where's my phone right now?
Oh, I want to take a picture.
I'm gonna take a picture of all of us. Yeah, right. Okay, take a picture.
Where's pictures?
You're totally gonna take my phone. I know it. Okay, so what did you ask? I'm sorry. Oh yeah, or
Like a
Oh, yeah.
smoothie?
Smile.
cheese. You're funny, dude. Oh, you did do it. Good job. Thank you. You cut me out, but you're funny. Thank you. Appreciate that. I'll use that picture later.
And the chocolate.
I'll send it to Papa, you bet. So I think that you can blend it. The only thing is that to mix it with stuff, you probably wouldn't want to mix it with like, milk. If you did just like fruit and ice and maybe some water, you could probably do that. Now, if you're going to be mindset, she does carb and protein in the morning. So you could do a smoothie then. Because it would be like your scoop of shake and then all your fruit. And then you can accessorize as you wish. Hold on, my phone. I'm gonna shut the TV off. Give me 1 second. This kid just got like every device right now. Okay. All right. So I think that was better. Okay. So To Be Mindset does half carbs and half protein for breakfast, and she considers fruit carbs. So you could do all your fruit and then your protein shake plus like water, and then you can accessorize as you wish. You can put a little scoop of peanut butter in there or a little bit of honey and make your blended shake. And that's how To Be Mindset goes. She does put a protein in the morning. Kind of feel it out. See what you like. Try it out. And so that's another concept. I was going to kind of do To Be Mindset tomorrow and kind of show you guys some of the videos and stuff like that and concepts. But I'll probably do like a screen share and show you guys like my To Be Mindset like nutrition tab on the bot app. So play around with it though, maybe fruit isn't enough for you because maybe, you have like a really packed morning and you need just like a little bit of protein to kind of get you through or to hold you over because maybe you can't eat fruit throughout the whole morning, maybe you just need to get it in, put a little protein in with it, and then on with your day. Try it out. There's so many different ways. That's why I always say like everybody's kind of different because, fruit for me may be easy because I'm kind of at home. And I don't like exert a crap ton of energy right in the morning. I'm more like mental energy. So for me, fruit's perfect. But maybe you need to eat and then you can't eat again until noon. So you need something to hold you over a little bit longer. So maybe putting that protein shake in with it would just be nice. So try it out. Try a couple different ways and see what works best for you. Or maybe even cycle it. So do fruit for 2 days in a row, and then your protein shake for that third day. And then 2 days in a row is just fruit, and then that third day is your protein. You can cycle things as well, okay? So that's why I really wanted to talk about like carb cycling too, because you can have carbs, but do you need carbs every day? Probably not. Okay, especially if you're trying to lose weight. If you're trying to lose weight, you can start sucking a carb like once or twice a week out of your diet, and that can help deplete your calorie intake on those days. And it can really help change a plateau as well. So if you're like plateauing or you found like yourself like just kind of leveling out, maybe on that third day, you take a carb or two away. So that's something that can deplete you as well. And then that next day, you'll kind of feel like kind of like sucked in, and then you can have your carbs again. Okay. So for lunch, so if we have fruit for breakfast, and say for lunch, ideally what I would suggest is a big old salad. So lots of greens, lots of veggies, beets. I love beets, you guys, and beets are a great way to kind of get that extra packed. I don't know. I know not a lot of people like beets, but they're so good. Yeah, man.
Hey, what I
Yeah.
honestly, I don't recall, but I don't think I like them. But what is the texture and flavor of a beet?
So beets are so good. They're like a sweet potato, like a cooked sweet potato is kind of similar. But they're real rooty. Like they have like that root taste to them, like a potato would. But they're sweet. They're
Like a
so
sweet
good.
russet?
You gotta try them.
Like a sweet russet? Like
More
a
of like
starchy?
sweeter, like a sweet potato.
Come on, you like ratatouille. Come on, describe this flavor to me.
Okay.
I don't want to buy beets if I'm not going to eat them.
So listen, so my dad eats beets all the time out of a jar, like pickles almost. Like that's how I kind of relate to them. Like it's a soft like pickle, but it could be mushy too. So it's a different texture, and I'm a big texture person. So during the 3-set, we had to eat beets, or we had an option.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, all right, well, I'm just going to try them. And to be honest with you, I love them because we had a sweet potato beet little recipe that we do. So I had to eat them warm. And that changed the way I liked them because they were warm. They weren't cold. So when I ate them warm, it changed.
Change the texture of them?
Yeah, it kind of made them a little bit, they weren't so,
Or give to it?
yeah. I
They
don't know.
look really hard. They look like raw potatoes almost,
Yeah,
but
they're
red.
not hard though. They're like a pickle. I would say they're like a pickle. But I don't like them cold. So when I would put them in salad with the pumpkin seeds, oh my gosh, that combination was amazing. Oh, she got the recipe.
Dude,
Yeah, but I like them
so
more.
good. The roasted fruit medley. You guys muted yourself. I thought you were talking.
What's that called?
What happened? Okay, so this is a roasted root medley. I'll post it today in the challenge group so you guys can try it out. So there's 2 different ways that you can get beets too. So you can buy raw beets, and they're like as hard as carrots. I think of them like carrots. So when you roast carrots, they get real soft, right? Like they get like almost like you can put them in your mouth and they just kind of like melt. That's how I think of beets. But beets before can be like hard as rocks. Like they're even hard to freaking cut and like shave off the top. But they're like a sweet potato. Like sweet potatoes can be really hard in the beginning, like when you're trying to cut them or skin them. And then you can dice them up and throw them in the oven, but they take forever to roast. So yes, so I buy them pre-done. I buy them like in the, like if you go to the produce section, you can get them in cans, or you can even go to the produce section, like where they sell like the vegan stuff usually, or like organic foods, and they have like pre-packaged ones too. I buy those just for quickly throwing on my salad. But I actually like to roast them. I think they taste a little bit better, just like when you roast them yourself rather than like pre-made, which would make sense for anything, you know. When you're getting something pre-packaged versus cooking it yourself, of course, it's always going to be better cooking it for yourself from the raw. But this is really good. This is our roasted root medley, and it's literally onions, carrots, sweet potatoes, beets. It's like all the roots, basically. Yeah, I think that's it. Onions. And then you literally just put like olive oil, salt and pepper, pop it in the oven for like 35 minutes, and boom, you're done. And then you can eat it, and it's a nice little side for you. So I love beets, but not everybody loves beets. But I think honestly, you just gotta give them a try. You just gotta try them out because they're a little intimidating. They're gonna stain your freaking fingers like all red. They'll make your poop kind of red as well. Kind of like asparagus, like it's gonna affect you in other areas.
I love asparagus.
But, you know,
I
don't
love
worry about
asparagus.
it's so good. But every time I pee, I'm always like, oh my God. It's terrible. Oh goodness. So okay, so let's finish doing our little mock meal plan, and then we'll wrap it up for today. So for lunch, I always suggest a lot of greens, you guys. So a big old salad, but switch it up. So don't make the same salad every day, okay? So maybe your salad has ham on it one day and it has chicken on it the next day, or you're making like a taco salad with like some ground turkey one day, and the next day it's a Caesar salad, okay? So like make them really different, because if not, if you make the same freaking salad every day, you guys, you all know what happens after about a week or two of the same freaking salad all the time. So even if you like some veggies, don't put it on every single time. Like I love carrots, but I don't always put carrots on my salad because I like to switch it up. I like to have different things on mine. And you want to make it big, you guys. Like I know some people, they put like these tiny little salads. I'm like, what was that? Like 3 bites? Like have the bed of your food as a salad, okay? So I get these bowls. I don't know if you guys have ever seen them in my clean eating group. Big old bowls. I have these big like salad bowls, and they just like are big. They're not like your regular bowls. Yeah, they have like a big top to them, and I just make all of it leafy lettuce, not iceberg lettuce, because iceberg lettuce, you guys, technically has like no nutritional value to it, okay? It's not that it's bad for you, it's just not good for, it's not producing what you should be having from leafy greens, okay? The darker the greens, the better. So kale, collard greens, even like leafy greens, or you know, any of those dark greens that you can get in. So sometimes, like, I'm not a big collard green fan, but what I'll do is I'll get collard greens, and then I'll get like leafy greens, and I'll chop them up and kind of mix them together. So that way it's not just a collard green salad, it's kind of like mixed in. I can do the same thing for Mike. Mike doesn't really like spinach, but if I cut up some spinach and mix it in with his lettuce, he's like, doesn't even know. I'm like, woohoo. He doesn't even know, you know, because I just kind of mix it in, and that gives it more flavor too. So, you know, sometimes when you have like those mixed baby greens and you can mix some spinach in it, or mix some of those, like maybe you like your iceberg lettuce, but cut up some iceberg, cut up some spinach, put them together. Carly, I think I saw your hand.
What kind of salad dressing would you use? Like oil?
So
like make your own?
Yeah, I make my own usually. It's so easy. Once you kind of understand the basis of most, or once you kind of have the ingredients for most dressings, it's so easy to whip up a dressing. My favorite one is this. I just take a little bit of olive oil, a little bit of lemon juice, salt, pepper, Italian seasoning, and you whip it up, and you can whip it, and it'll kind of like quickly get a nice consistency to it, and you put it on your dressing. Boom. That's it. You just put it on your salad. It's like a real refreshing, like it's a lemon and olive oil with a little bit of seasoning in it, but it just will give a nice refreshing taste to your salad, but it's not going to dump a bunch of mayonnaise based salad dressing. Like that's the thing about ranch is it's mayonnaise based, you know, and so you're literally making a salad and then putting a glop of mayonnaise on top. Like that doesn't feel right, you know. Not saying I don't use ranch every once in a while, right? Like I got a good chipotle dressing in my fridge and I freaking love it, but I don't use it every time. You know, or maybe I drizzle a little bit and then I put a lot of lemon juice. So that's, or avocado oil. That's a really good idea, Amanda. You can also get like infused olive oils. I used to have this garlic olive oil that one time, or you could take a little bit of like red wine vinegar or apple cider vinegar or rice vinegar. You can mix that in it and just give it a little flavor. There you go. That looks good. Yes. Anything that's like a base that it's not white, you guys. If it's white, that means it's most likely a mayonnaise base. But if it's like a liquid, it's probably like an olive oil base or like a balsamic vinegar.
Yeah, this
something
is
like
roasted
that. That's
garlic
more of an
citrus.
oil base. That sounds good. That looks good. I might have to have you send me a picture of that. But yeah, like if you could get like a flavored olive oil and mix with a little bit of lemon juice, that'll be really good too. In the 2B mindset, she gives like this really good tip, and that's like one of the things that I've always learned. And she says, if you are out somewhere, or say there's only salad dressing, and what you can do is mix lemon juice in it. Okay, so you can take like, so say you're at a restaurant and they send, they give you like that big old black cup of ranch, right? So dump out half of it, take lemon juice or water and mix in with it, and then use it. Okay, so you're actually like dumbing down basically the dressing that they give you to like half the calories. And then you can use it because typically it's super thick, anyway. And so just maybe watering it down just a little bit more and using half of it is a nice little trick that you can use that nobody will notice. You could be at the restaurant, a little bit of lemon, ask for a couple lemon wedges, put some lemon in there, mix it, pour it on your salad. It's a nice little trick that you can use to kind of just cut a few of the calories out. Okay. So I'm just trying to think of other ideas. So, okay, so let's move on. So lunch salads, okay? Big old salads, lots of leafy greens, cucumbers, carrots, beets, avocado, some sesame seeds or some pumpkin seeds, or something like that. Like make it dressed up. Like don't make your salads boring. Radishes, absolutely. I love radishes. Or you can even put fruit on your salad. You guys, have you ever had blackberry or blueberries or strawberries, or I put oranges. You can put like little cuties, like open up a cutie and put on there with like maybe some walnuts or some apples. I love apples on my salad. Get creative. Put fun, yummy food in there, okay? To where you actually want to enjoy it. Not looking at it going, ugh, okay? Put the food that you love on it, okay? You can also put jicama is a good one to put on a salad as well. It's Jicama or something like that. It's actually a fruit, but it's like a sweet radish is what I think they taste like. So it tastes like, it has like the white kind of radish feel to it, but it's sweet. And so it's really good to kind of put on your salad too.
The jicama?
Yes.
Because it's different colors.
Yeah.
Starts with a J.
Mm-hmm. It'll most likely look like a root. It'll look like a brown potato.
If you go to like in Texas, it's HEB, and if you go to like the bigger ones, the HEB Plus or whatever, they will have packages of the jicama. I actually tried it when I was still in Texas because I saw it like prepackaged, kind of like near the prosciuttos, the nice little different ones. It's just, and it's so refreshing. It's so crisp. It's almost like sweet cucumbers to me. It's just really, really good.
They are. They're very good. I actually had never had them before I did the Ultimate Reset, the cleanse. And then I was like, oh my God. And at first I actually hated that. I cut them up and I put them on there and I was like, ew, that is weird. And then I did it the next time. And then I did it the next time. And I was like, dang it, I kind of like these. Because they just give your salad a little bit more crispiness. And they give it a little bit of a sweet flavor. So play around with your flavors, okay? Play around with them. There's so many different options of salads that you can get on, you know, put and kind of mix and match to make it exciting, okay? So let's move on to dinners. Dinner is, for me, I love dinner, and I've gotten really used to finding ways to not have carbs in my dinner, okay? Or having a carb or a protein, okay? So one of these days, you know, go ahead, say, hey, I'm gonna have baked sweet potatoes, okay? So put that on there, but what are you gonna have with it? You're gonna have a crap ton of broccoli with it, okay? And not just like, you guys, I mean, I'm talking like 2 cups of broccoli, okay? 2 cups of cooked broccoli is what you should be eating, not like 3 little pieces, okay? 3/4 of your plate should be covered in broccoli. 1/4 of it should be either your carb or your protein, okay? So if you were to look at your plate and like, you know, it was like a clock and it was like 3 o'clock, that in there should be your protein, and all of this should be your veggies, okay? So you can have 2 separate veggies. Maybe you have broccoli and a salad, or maybe you just have a crap ton of broccoli, okay? Or maybe you have asparagus and roasted cauliflower, okay? Or you could have cauliflower rice. Ooh, there you go. So now you're kind of like tricking yourself into having a carb, right? So you could have some cauliflower rice with some asparagus and a chicken breast. Okay, so there's all different kinds of ways that you can incorporate these. One of my favorites is spaghetti squash. I love pasta, and that was really hard for me to get rid of my pasta in the evening because we make all kinds of pasta, pesto pasta, Alfredo pasta. I make my own sauce, a red sauce, turkey burger. And I was like, what, I can't have pasta in the night anymore? I'm like, I got really sad. And then that's when I was like, I heard spaghetti squash works. So cut the ends off the spaghetti squash, cut it in half, de-seed it like you would a cantaloupe, okay? Drizzle it with some olive oil, salt, and pepper, bake it for like 45 minutes, and then you pull it out, let it cool, shred it with your fork. It's gonna shred, just literally, it's gonna shred into like angel hair pasta. Like, I promise you, it's so cool. Like the first time you do it, you're like, holy shit, it does do that. And you'll like start shredding it, and then you can shred up. Basically, for Mike and I, I'll cook one whole thing into 2, and I split it between Mike and I, basically. So 1/2 usually feeds me, 1/2 usually feeds Mike. Sometimes I'll make extras for like tomorrow, so I'll get 2 whole ones and cut up and have some leftovers for the next day. But then I get a red sauce or an Alfredo sauce or a sauce. There we go. And so I'll get like the pesto.
I just wanted to add something also. I tried the squash and I did not like it. The first time I tried it, I did not like it. And I don't know if it's because I didn't season it enough or like with the oils but make sure you try it again. Like, just because you didn't like it the first time, try something different the next time. Don't give up on it, because now it's freaking amazing. And I cook it every week. I just had to figure out what I liked and how to cook it correctly.
Yeah, how to cook it correctly is big, because I have overcooked it before. Has anybody else ever done that? And it's mushy and disgusting. So if you haven't, just a heads up, like, undercook it, check it, you know what I mean? Stick it back in, because if you overcook it, it's so disappointing. It's so disappointing.
Like, think of it like zucchini squash. You know, if you overcook zucchini squash and it just turns into like mush, you know, think of it, it's a squash. So it's gonna do that if you overcook it, for sure. I've done that before. Or I put too much olive oil one time, and so like it was literally mush because the olive oil just, like, I don't know, it just was too much. I've also, you guys, sometimes there's also different kinds of spaghetti squash. So you gotta pay attention to that. Some of them are like more orange and spotty, and some are more yellow and light. So there's like different kinds too. And I've noticed some of them will cook differently, but you just gotta play with it. I agree with that. Like, stop being afraid of the kitchen for the most part and just go for it and try it. I couldn't tell you how many times I've messed up zoodles. Oh my gosh, I actually like have taken a break from zoodles because I keep overcooking them, and then they get super mushy and I'm just like, I'm over it. I'd rather do spaghetti squash. But I love zucchini, and I love like zucchini lasagna is my favorite. So I'll take zucchinis, cut off the ends, and cut them into like long strips, and you make lasagna with it. I don't know if you guys have ever had that, but zucchini lasagna is so good. And you can put cottage cheese in it with a little turkey burger if you want, pasta sauce, mozzarella, a little bit of basil. It's like literally 6 ingredients, you know, and you have lasagna like that. And it's veggie based rather than protein and carb based, okay? Which can be really nice for your body. And it's gonna also, that could be like a family recipe that you could do. You could also try eggplant. I don't like eggplant, you guys. I just cannot get into it. But you can also do eggplant lasagna as well. So there's so many different kinds of things that you can get into and try. We just need to kind of expand our minds and be willing to try it, just like we are anything else, you know? So let me see. Okay, so I've watched a video. So I've heard to try them in the microwave. I have yet to try that, Alicia. I need to do that because I've heard you put them in the microwave for like 3-5 minutes, right? Like, and then they just warm up and they don't get mushy. Is that right? Okay, I'm gonna have to try that. So for dinner, you guys say like, maybe you have salmon one night. So maybe you write down, say like salmon, sweet potato, and chicken. Okay, so those are gonna be my 3 dinners. And then I'm gonna write down my 3 veggies that I want with them. I know that we're over time. It's 9:11. Okay. So salmon with broccoli and salad. And then for the next one, I'm going to have a baked sweet potato with cauliflower rice and a side salad. And here's the deal, okay? So when you're writing all these ideas down, you're now creating your grocery list, okay? So then now you've got all your meals kind of fixed out. You got your breakfast. So now you look, you say, okay, so for me to have breakfast for the next 3 days, I'm gonna need a cantaloupe. I'm gonna need 3 apples. I'm gonna need a pack of strawberries, a pack of blackberries, and that's for my breakfast, okay? So that's your grocery list. Now you go to lunch. Okay, if I'm gonna have salad every day, I'm gonna need a lot of leafy greens. I'm gonna need a cucumber, a carrot, you know, and now you can kind of line up, and now you're building your grocery list, okay? So based off of these 3 days, you're making your grocery list. And then you stick to the list when you go to the grocery store, okay? Stick to the list, right? You buy these things, and then the next 3 days, you eat those 3 things, okay? Because how many times do we make this, we forget the grocery list, or we buy off of the grocery list, and then when those 3 days come around and that lunch comes around, you go, oh, I'm just gonna choose this instead, right? Don't even let it be an option. That's like one thing I had to learn. It's not even an option if I just didn't buy it. Like, this was my only option because this is what I bought, because this is what I planned, okay? And so I just really try to stick to that. And so that can really help you kind of start creating a little meal plan. Now you're creating recipes, and now you can alternate them and check them and try them. And I honestly, you guys, I suggest when you're starting out, plan 3 to 4 days in a row. Like, I think sometimes when we try to plan 7 days, and we're like meal prepping and trying to buy for like 7 days in a row, it can be a little overwhelming, right? It can be a little tricky to try and think of 7 dinners I want to have. But 3 or 4, I can do that, right? Like, I can go to the grocery store and I can plan for 3 or 4 days and try that out. And then see how that goes. And as it works, then you try 3 or 4 more days. Now, I know it's a little harder because, like, I know the grocery store isn't as fun or as easily accessible as it is used to be, you know. So I know, like, for us, when we go to the grocery store, we try to like load up because it's just like we don't want to go all the time. But hopefully things will start to kind of calm back down and you guys will be able to go back to the grocery store freely and things will be there and all this stuff. So take that with a grain of salt. I say when you're first starting, try and plan for 3 or 4 days at a time. Okay, because that will help you not feel so overwhelmed. You can prep, you know, 3 lunches and just try them out, see how it goes. And then also you're going to notice on that 4th day when you don't have a plan, it's going to feel really weird, right? Like you're going to be like, holy crap, I had all those 3 days, they were perfectly planned. Everything went according to plan. And now I got to this 4th day and I feel so off. And you're going to notice how nice it is to have a plan. And you're going to start going, okay, I want to plan for 5 days. I need to plan for 5 days, but I want you to come up with that on your own. You know, I want you to see what it's like planning for 3 days and feel that 4th day without a plan, you know, because then you're going to notice, whoo, it's a big difference when I don't have a plan for what I'm eating. So now that next week, you're like, okay, I'm going to plan for the whole week. Okay. But I want you guys to experience that because I want you to see what it's like having a plan versus not having a plan. And try some stuff out. Get out of that comfort zone with your food. Get out of what you've learned all these years, to be honest, you guys, because what we have learned may not work for your body, right? Like the food pyramid across the board does not work for everybody's body, right? It's so different. Everybody's so different. So you need to find what works for you, what fuels you the best. Okay, because maybe I can eat salmon, but maybe you can't. Maybe salmon makes your stomach just turmoil. And so I'm not going to sit here and suggest salmon recipes to you and it doesn't work for you. So you have to kind of take everything and transfer it to what works for you. Okay, but pay attention. Really pay attention to what you're putting in your body and how it affects you. Okay. Yeah, definitely, Amanda. Let me know what recipes you need. I'm happy to like take pictures of these and post them in the group. Or if you guys, we have talked about doing the reset as a group again. So maybe if you guys are interested in doing the 21-day cleanse, maybe that's where we're headed. What were you thinking, Tennille?
I'll be doing the ultimate reset again in August. So if anybody wants to jump on board in August, I think it's,
Do you know when in August?
September, we're going to West Virginia. Actually, Brittany and I with like a group of like 20 to 25 people. So I just want to look right, you know?
So like beginning of August, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
So sometime in August, that's when I plan on doing one.
Okay.
Because it's so much easier when you have a group, girls, because it is hard. I'm not gonna lie, it's hard, but it's so worth it. Like, it is amazing.
It like changed my life for real. Like, cause I done it back in January and it was like right after my wedding. And I like, oh my gosh, like the amount of like stress and crap that happened like during our wedding. We moved 2 days before Christmas, had Christmas, and then got married on New Year's. And then like literally like by January 4th, I was like, I just felt like I was fucking crazy. Sorry, excuse me. I just felt like I was freaking crazy. And we went right into the ultimate reset and it literally saved my like health, I feel like, because I was just like so exhausted, so stressed, so just like, oh, just from all of it that had happened, all of like December, it was just so exhausting. And we went right into the cleanse and it literally brought me back to life, is what I feel like. And it exposed so much about my gut. Like my gut health is totally different than it was ever before. Like I learned so much about the way food affects my body during that cleanse. And I think that happens for everybody that goes all in on it. Like if you really do the full 3 weeks, it's like not only life changing, it's gut changing. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have to be really aware of your food, but that's what made me really aware. Like, I actually was not so much aware of how food affected me until I did the cleanse, or until certain foods weren't in my life. Like, I didn't realize how they affected me until they were removed, and then I tried to put them back. And I was like, ooh, like peanut butter. Like, I remember when we first, were off the cleanse, and we ate peanut butter like that next week, and we were both just like I could feel it heavy in my stomach, because think of peanut butter is like, like, think of it how it is on the outside. Imagine it in your body like that too, it's the same consistency. So obviously that would have that same effect on my body. I still eat peanut butter and I still love it, but I know now how it affects my body, and so just being aware of how things affect your body is so, so important.
And I, during the too, I just to throw in too, like, the anxiety. I had really bad anxiety, and I even had like a really bad panic attack around like the holidays and just everything. But coffee, I was a big coffee drinker, like 2 cups in the morning, like Starbucks. Like, I love coffee, and I still treat myself sometimes. But the Ultimate Reset made me realize that coffee was a trigger to my anxiety. So I don't drink coffee anymore in the mornings. I have it maybe a couple times a month, but I drink tea now every morning. But not only is it going to help you lose weight, but it's going to mentally, like Jenny said, you're going to realize how the food affects you, not only by weight wise, but like your mental state and your gut. Like, it was crazy. And then my confidence in the kitchen too. Like, I wasn't a big confident girl when it came to cooking in the kitchen. But the Ultimate Reset, you have to cook, you have to explore, you have to expand. And it gave me that confidence, like, wow, I can cook, I can do this. So all around, I mean, the Ultimate Reset is where it's at.
Great. It's so funny to even think back of, like, I remember Tennille's like first salad she made on the Ultimate Reset compared to the last salad you made. Like, you were like, oh my God, I don't even like my food touching. You didn't like all your food touching. But with the Ultimate Reset, it's literally like, load it on, make it a big salad, mix it all up, and eat it. Like, that's really the concept of it. And all of a sudden, Tennille's food started getting closer and closer and closer. And then it just like started to pile up. And by the 3 weeks, like, you were making those big, beautiful salads just like that. And it was so cool to see you even change, I remember you saying that. You're like, I don't like my food touching in the beginning. And then it just, like, your plate got closer and closer. It was so funny. It was really cool. And I mean, you guys, I had lost 10 pounds when I did the reset. I think Molly, one of our coaches, had lost like 17 pounds during the Ultimate Reset. Like, it can really, really change so much about your body when you are focused on nutrition. So you're not supposed to work out during the cleanse either, which was nice, and it was a little hard. It was really weird not working out for that 3 weeks, but it was crazy to see how just that food focus still allowed us to all lose weight, and that alone should show us that how important food is to the weight loss journey. Yes, the workouts are awesome. Release those endorphins, get that muscle pumping, get that heart rate up, but it's the nutrition if you want to lose the weight. Okay. Or even if you want to, like me, I like to gain muscle. I'm always like about those like muscle gains. You can't gain muscle without leafy greens and nutrition and protein and all of that stuff in your body, right? Like, we have to build this base of nutrition, and then everything else will fall into place. Cool? Woo! Good talk today. I'm sorry, guys. That lasted a long time. I actually even went into that going, man, I only have a 6-minute video. I hope I can talk for the full hour. And here we are. But you guys, this is such an important conversation. It's such an important topic. And I think as we grow our minds, we expand our ability to try new things, right? As you're trying new things with personal development, it's only natural to start trying new things in the kitchen. Try new things with your workouts. Get creative, okay? That's why people hit plateaus. It's because they're boring and they want to do the same thing over and over again. Don't allow that. Try different programs, try different foods, try different recipes. Go on Pinterest, go on Bod, check out the Fixate recipes. Get creative. And one last little tip about going on like Fixate, you guys grab 1 or 2 recipes, right? Don't try to make new recipes 5 days a week, right? Try 2 new recipes and surround it those other 3 days with recipes you're comfortable with. Okay, be like, on Tuesday, I'm trying a new recipe from Fixate. Not Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I need to go buy all this stuff, and I just spent $300 on groceries because I'm making all these recipes. Don't do that, right? Like, get your staples, have your, a few meals that you know are already planned, and then you're going to try new recipes on Tuesdays and Thursdays that you need a few new unique things, okay? So try that instead of trying all new recipes, all new things, because then you get super overwhelmed, or you're really good for a week, and then next week, you're like, well, now what do I do? Because I did all this stuff that I thought I wanted to do last week. Spread it out and really kind of just try something new once a week. That's what I would suggest. Cool? Good work today, ladies. I'm very excited. I can't wait to see what we kind of do with our nutrition and really start focusing on that as well. So thank you, Rachel Hollis, for bringing this topic to us this week. It's really good. I like it. All right, I'm gonna let you guys go. I hope you have a fantastic day. Tomorrow we will come back and we'll talk more about nutrition. I'm gonna look up some fun stuff, get us some information, and we'll just keep delving into it. Maybe we'll try some recipes. Maybe I don't know. I'll let you guys know what we got planned for tomorrow. Go cook, Alicia. I think you look sick at work right now. All right, guys. I will talk to you later. I hope you have a fabulous day, okay? Bye, ladies.